Yesterday, the RB22 was stuck in the garage with a hydraulic failure. Today, Max Verstappen steps out of the car and calmly reveals something that sent a shockwave through the paddock. A 15-lap race simulation. 1 minute 37 pace. Barely any tire drop-off. While rivals were degrading after 8 laps. And here's the part that should worry Ferrari the most. His fastest lap, a 1 minute 31.720, came with more fuel on board. Which means Red Bull was not even showing full pace. But the real bombshell was not the lap time. It was what Max told the team. The car is predictable. In Formula 1, that word changes championships. Because when Verstappen feels that level of confidence, he does not hesitate. He dominates. So what exactly did he unveil in Bahrain? How did Red Bull turn a day one failure into what looks like a Sunday weapon? And did Mekies just realize that Ferrari may have a Saturday car, while Red Bull has built a championship machine? Subscribe now. Because what Verstappen revealed might have already decided how this season unfolds. Expand next block. To understand why that single word, predictable, matters so much, we need to go back to the moment everything almost unraveled. Day 1 in Bahrain did not look like dominance. It looked fragile. The hydraulic issue forced the RB22 into the garage early. Engineers crowded around the car. Screens filled with pressure traces and system alerts. Outside, Ferrari and Mercedes were stacking laps. Max took off his helmet. And he made a choice. He stopped. That decision is bigger than it sounds. Pre-season testing is limited. Every lap is valuable. Most teams push through minor problems just to collect data. Red Bull didn't. They chose control over panic. Because they are not chasing testing headlines. They are protecting the foundation of the car. Overnight, the hydraulic system was rebuilt and recalibrated. Not rushed. Not improvised. Thoroughly checked. When the RB22 rolled out the next day, it didn't look dramatic. But it looked composed. The early runs were cautious. Installation laps. Aero checks. Correlation runs. Then came the first real push. A 1 minute 31.720 on soft tires. Similar to Ferrari's benchmark. But insiders suggested heavier fuel. And that changes the meaning completely. Because equal time with more weight means there is margin left. But the real turning point came later. The long run. 15 laps on medium tires. Consistent 1 minute 37 pace. While others started losing grip after 8 or 9 laps, the Red Bull remained stable. No sudden rear slide. No aggressive tire drop. Just rhythm. And that rhythm tells you something about the platform. The car is not nervous. It does not collapse when the fuel burns off. It does not spike in temperature when the rear tires begin to work harder. It behaves. That is what Verstappen revealed between the lines. Not just that it is fast, but that it is stable across conditions. Now connect that to the aggressive aerodynamic package Red Bull quietly introduced. More sculpted side pods. Smaller inlets. A deeper undercut feeding the floor. Tighter engine cover packaging. The Ford power unit appears to be running cooler than rivals, allowing that compact bodywork. Less cooling drag. More efficiency. Then the revised front wing geometry. A subtle scoop in the center section. Designed to maintain aerodynamic load under braking. Which explains why Max can brake so late without instability. Under the floor, new vortex generators seal airflow from front tire turbulence. That protects the diffuser. Which protects rear stability. Everything points toward race control. Not spectacle. Race control. And this is where Mekies likely understood the bigger picture. Ferrari may have the sharper qualifying package. They may secure pole position. But over a full race distance, tire management decides outcomes in Bahrain. If the RB22 can extend stints even slightly longer than rivals, strategy becomes their weapon. And Verstappen is at his most dangerous when he can apply pressure without overheating his tires. The body language shift told the story. Day 1, frustration. Day 2, quiet confidence. No celebration. No exaggerated reaction. Just clarity. When a driver of his level says the car responds exactly to setup changes, that means development can accelerate. Because engineers are not chasing problems. They are refining performance. And refinement wins championships. Of course, testing is still testing. Fuel loads are hidden. Engine modes are masked. No one shows everything. But patterns do not lie. The RB22 looks like a machine built for Sundays. Built for 57 laps, not 1. And if this is only the baseline version, still being optimized, then the ceiling might be even higher. So the real question now is not whether Red Bull solved their day 1 problem. It is whether anyone else can match the consistency Verstappen just unveiled. Because in Formula 1, raw speed excites. But stability over distance dominates. And right now, in Bahrain, Red Bull looks frighteningly stable. But here's where the situation becomes even more unsettling for the rest of the grid. Because what we have seen so far might not even be the final version of the RB22. During the debrief, Verstappen reportedly indicated that the balance window is wide. That sounds technical, but it is crucial. A wide setup window means the car performs consistently across different track temperatures, wind directions, and fuel loads. Bahrain is notorious for changing conditions. The desert heat fades as the sun sets. The track cools. Grip levels shift. Rear tires begin to suffer in unpredictable ways. Cars with narrow balance windows struggle when those variables move. The RB22 appears stable through those transitions. And stability means adaptability. Adaptability means strategic freedom. Now think about what that does to race planning. If Red Bull can trust the car to behave the same way at the beginning of a stint and near the end, engineers can extend runs confidently. They can undercut. They can overcut. They can react instead of gamble. And when strategy becomes flexible, Verstappen becomes dangerous. Because he thrives when he can control the tempo. But here's another detail that matters. There was no visible energy clipping during the long runs. Power delivery remained smooth, linear. That suggests the hybrid system is working efficiently under sustained load, which protects rear tires under acceleration, which again reinforces that long-run strength. Everything points toward one philosophy. Build a car that does not punish the driver. Build a car that allows rhythm. And rhythm is Verstappen's greatest weapon. Now contrast that with Ferrari. They appear sharp over one lap. Aggressive. Potentially quicker in pure qualifying trim. But qualifying pace and race management are different battles. If Ferrari secures pole position, they gain clean air. But if the Red Bull can follow closely without destroying its tires, the pressure builds lap after lap. And when pressure builds, small mistakes happen. This is where Mekies likely understood the risk. Because what Verstappen unveiled was not flashy innovation. It was quiet dominance. The RB22 does not bounce violently. It does not look nervous. It does not require constant correction. It flows. And flowing cars win championships. Still, one shadow remains. Reliability. The hydraulic issue from day one cannot simply disappear from memory. Complex systems can fail again. And a long season punishes small weaknesses. But perhaps that early problem was a blessing. It exposed vulnerability before the first race. It forced reinforcement. It tested the team's response under pressure. And the response was calm, measured, effective. So as preseason testing continues, the message from Bahrain is becoming clearer. Red Bull is not chasing dramatic headlines. They are refining a complete package. Strong race pace, stable aerodynamic platform, efficient power unit, and a driver who looks fully synchronized with the machine. If this is only the starting point, the rest of the grid may already be reacting to something they cannot yet see entirely. Because when Verstappen says the car is predictable, he is not describing comfort. He is describing control. And control, over 57 laps, is what separates contenders from champions. Now the only question left is this. When the lights go out for real, and every team reveals its true pace, will the RB22 still look this composed? Or was Bahrain just the calm before another Red Bull storm? But let's push this one step further. Because what truly defines a dominant car is not just pace. It is how early in the season that pace becomes repeatable. And in Bahrain, during preseason testing, the RB22 did not look like a car still searching for answers. It looked like a car confirming them. Watch the onboard carefully. There is no wrestling mid-corner. No sudden snap when Max touches the throttle. No hesitation before committing to the apex. That tells you something profound. The aerodynamic platform is not on a knife edge. It is balanced. And when a car is balanced, development becomes exponential. Engineers are no longer trying to fix weaknesses. They are stacking gains on a stable foundation. That is the difference between chasing performance and building dominance. Now imagine the internal simulations Red Bull is running right now. They have long-run data. They have tire degradation curves. They have energy deployment consistency. They know how the car behaves in dirty air. And if those simulations confirm what the track is showing, then the RB22 is not just competitive. It is scalable. Scalable performance is what wins championships. Because over a long calendar, circuits vary wildly. High-speed tracks, street circuits, technical layouts. If the car remains predictable across those environments, it travels well. And that is where Verstappen's comment becomes even more powerful. Predictable does not just mean comfortable. It means transferable. It means the balance philosophy is not track-specific. Now think about Mekies watching this unfold. Ferrari may have one-lap sharpness. They may secure front row starts. But if Red Bull can maintain tire life better, manage race pace more efficiently, and apply relentless pressure without overheating, the psychological advantage shifts. Pressure forces strategic errors. It forces early pit stops. It forces aggressive calls. And Verstappen thrives in chaos that he controls. But here is another subtle detail. There were no dramatic setup swings between runs. No radical front wing adjustments. No desperate rear ride height changes. Just incremental refinement. That suggests correlation between wind tunnel, simulation, and track data is strong. When correlation is strong, development accelerates rapidly. Because engineers trust their numbers. And trusted numbers lead to bold upgrades. Now let's address the one remaining variable. Qualifying. Ferrari appears sharp over one lap. They may hold a small edge in pure low fuel performance. But even if Red Bull starts second or third, their race pace advantage could neutralize that quickly. Because Bahrain punishes rear tires. And when rear tires fade, lap time collapses. If the RB22 protects its rubber better than rivals, the race unfolds differently than qualifying suggests. That is the hidden weapon. Consistency. Not drama. Consistency. And this is what makes the situation feel ominous. There was no celebration in the Red Bull garage. No exaggerated reactions. Just quiet confidence. That quiet confidence is often the clearest warning. Because dominant teams do not react loudly in testing. They observe. They calculate. They wait. So as preseason testing continues, the bigger question is no longer whether the RB22 is fast. It is whether anyone has found a weakness in it. So far, the only visible flaw was the hydraulic issue. And that was resolved before meaningful race simulations even began. If that reliability holds, and the balance window remains wide, then what Verstappen unveiled in Bahrain is not a surprise. It is a statement. A statement that Red Bull may have sacrificed flashy headlines in favor of long-term control. And in Formula One, control over distance is everything. When the lights go out for the first race, we will finally see the full truth. But right now, in preseason testing, one thing feels increasingly clear. The RB22 does not look like a car fighting for answers. It looks like a car already preparing to defend a crown. And if that impression proves accurate under race pressure, then what Max revealed in Bahrain will not just shock Mekies. It will shape the entire season.